Hello. Welcome back to the show. Welcome back to the podcast. Welcome back to the Civil Point with none other than your host, moi, Ariana Dieva. We are back with a brand new episode here tonight, and if you haven't already, you guys can hit that subscribe button right now to stay up to date with all the craziness that is going on in the world of the United States politics, our politicians, and sadly, our corrupt and imbecilic president, Donald Trump. So, if you haven't already, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, and everything else is right up here. But let's go ahead and get into it. It has been an eventful week that I have missed because I have been so deathly ill. And it's like, oh my God, whoever has like a voodoo doll of me and is just poking and prodding and tearing it apart and setting it on fire, please stop. Like, oh my God. It has been so horrible, but I am getting better. I am on the back end of this cold. I am on the back end of it being, healthy again and getting back to myself and getting out of my bed. I was literally in bed for like 5 days straight. But I'm back. But let's go ahead and talk about what is going on in the world of Trump, in the world of the news, in the world of the United States. Let's keep up to date here. So I just want to start out with this, though. Before we get into Trump, before we get into Bubba, before we get into the EPSTEIN files and all of that mess, I did want to touch base on something that is really, really irking me. And what is irking me is that Marjorie Taylor Greene is becoming a vehicle and a mechanism to get information and facts to the right. And as much as I support in any opportunity to get facts and true information to the right, I don't support it going through Marjorie Taylor Greene, who is the biggest scammer and grifter other than Donald Trump himself to exist in the world of United States politics. It sickens me to know that likes of CNN and The View are extending her hands after the damage and the destruction and the erosion of the United States Constitution and rule of law that she abided and conceded with over the last 10 years. She was a puppet for the right-wing agenda. She had no moral compass, values, or backbone when it comes to human decency and human dignity. And now Marjorie Taylor Greene is on this parade and this apology tour of toxic politics that she contributed to, but not only contributed to, raised a flag and went to war with the left with in regards to humanity and human rights and human dignity that she feels other people that did not resemble herself decided to have owed to them as a constitutional right. So to see Marjorie Taylor Greene get all of these opportunities to fix her wrongs publicly pisses me off. She should not have an opportunity to fix her mistakes publicly and gain an audience and reform her base publicly. She should actually do the surface work of what it means to be a service politician in the United States and do the work on the ground, not behind or in front of cameras, okay? Do it behind the cameras, not in front of the cameras where you have makeup, hair, and every sort of kind of just complete and utter bullshit line being fed to you for a talking point so that way you can gain some sympathy points with the left because now Donald Trump, Daddy Trump, does not love you anymore. So it just pisses me off that the likes of Marjorie Taylor Greene are getting these opportunities to say, I'm no longer going to engage in toxic politics, when she knew, obviously, what she was doing was wrong and chose to actively engage in policies and electing people into offices such as the presidency that would hurt actual human beings. She does not deserve a second chance. She does not deserve to be the mechanism of a voice that we can reach the right with facts and truthful information. She deserves to rot in hell. There's a special place. There is a special place in hell for people like her that takes money to destroy human beings. Special place in hell for people like her. But we're going to go ahead and continue on here because I'm not talking about Marjorie Taylor Greene. But it pisses me off that of all the people that the left is using as a mechanism to voice truth and facts through, it's Marjorie Taylor Greene, one of the most evilest, scummiest, griftiest human beings that you will ever see in your life. It pisses me off. But let's go ahead and turn here because not apparently, and not allegedly, Donald Trump is calling for the EPSTEIN files to be released. And I am surprised by this because leading up to this current presidency, he was like, release them. We want the Epstein files out. We need them out. We need to hold accountable every Democrat, every Republican, every person who destroyed the lives of children. See, still sick here, still getting better. We need to destroy the lives and hold accountable the people who hurt women and children. And then he got into presidency, and then it was a totally different tune. Now it's Epstein files? What? Whoever talked about that's a hoax. What are we talking about? Epstein files? Never before heard of them. This man was a convicted sex offender. We should let him rest in peace and die, according to Donald Trump. He's no longer here. Why are we still talking about it? Was basically his sentiment and basically his exact words. And it's just funny now because apparently and allegedly he has changed his tune here. So let's go ahead and take a look at this. In a reversal, Trump says House Republicans should vote to release the Epstein files. Now, wasn't Donald Trump literally trying to kill, anyone who wanted these Epstein files released over the past 6 months? He called his Republican constituents stupid who believed a Democratic hoax. Like, over the last 6 months, it's been nothing but rhetoric of the Epstein files being a hoax, of any Republicans who believe it, that they have been duped by the Democrats. And now all of a sudden he's saying, you know what, never mind, it's not a hoax, it's totally real, we should release the Epstein files. After now 6 weeks of a government shutdown, where the real issue at hand was the fact that they were going to have the votes to release those files. And now all of a sudden Donald Trump is changing his tune. It kind of makes things seem a little bit, I don't know, suspicious. There's a lot of suspicious, okay? Like, why do you want to release the Epstein files now, Trump? Why? In this article by the Associated Press, I apologize, I'm still a little bit sick here. President Donald Trump says, we have, still a little bit sick, as you can hear. So Trump says, we have nothing to hide, and it's time to move on from this Democrat hoax perpetrated by radical left lunatics in order to deflect from the great success of the Republican Party. Baby. See, now I called this months ago when all of a sudden there was no list. It wasn't on Pam Bondi's desk. They all realized that Trump was all over those files, like in, under, up, above, down, right, left, center. He was at the focal point, other than Epstein himself, of those files. And honestly, it's insane to me that now he's reversing his decision. He's reversing where he stood in his position. Now let's release those Epstein files. But let's talk about it, because guess what? These Epstein files have been in the hands of Trump's administration for 10 months. Not only have they been in the hands of Trump's administration for 10 months, but they've had access to these documents. And it makes me wonder now why, after the government shut down, why now after the rep was voted in, that gives the votes to release those files, it makes you wonder, well, why now, Trump, are you vying for these files to be released when it was a hoax literally a week ago? I'm confused, but I'm not really confused, because I know that Trump is vying now for these Epstein files to be released because they have combed through each and every document to not necessarily remove him from those documents, but retract any disparaging or any associated information of Trump that makes him look bad, that makes him look derogatory, that makes him look like the predator we all know him to be. And that's the God's honest truth, if you want to talk about it, because we're talking about it. This administration had access to these documents for the past 10 months, has gone on record to say it was a hoax, and now we're going to go on record to say release the hoax of the files. You can't keep up with the madness and the lies and the complete and utter fabrications that they feed to the American public, because it's all just such insanity. So there is, I believe 100% that they went through those files, they found everything according to Trump. They removed anything horribly that is associated with Trump, and now they're going to release them. But that is going to backfire on Trump, because I think someone has those unaltered, undoctored files of the Epstein files in full, unredacted, that will be released if Trump decides to release any form of altered Epstein files information and documents. No doubt about it. And it will be the biggest scandal in American history. And Trump will go to jail for it. He will. As Steve Bannon said before, he said, some of us in this room, if Trump doesn't get elected into our 2028 term presidency, some of us in this room, including himself, Steve Bannon, will go to jail. And I believe Trump will go to jail. 100%. Now, in regards to these Epstein files, I just want to, let's go ahead and play this here, because there has been some released documentation in these Epstein files. So let's go ahead and take a look at this. So these are emails that were released over the weekend in regards to Jeffrey Epstein and his personal emails. So let's go ahead and take a look at these here. So email number 1 is direct correspondence between Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell. So the correspondence reads, "I want you to realize that the dog that hasn't barked is Trump. Blank, the victim, spent hours at my house with him. He has never once been mentioned. Police chief, blah, blah, blah." I'm 75% there, to Jeffrey Epstein. So in regards to this, sorry, I'm still hydrating myself here. He's saying that Trump is a dog that hasn't barked, but he hasn't barked because guess what? Trump has spent time with the victims of Jeffrey Epstein. Now, here's what I have to say in regards to Trump. Trump is a significant figure in United States history. Whether you like it or whether you hate it, he is. If our government is going to go after the biggest fish in American history to fry for sexual misconduct and rape and pedophilia, you better well damn believe that the government has to have sufficient evidence to convict a man of these allegations. Now, do I personally believe that Trump has been involved in these disgusting conduct that Jeffrey Epstein was found guilty of? Absolutely. I personally believe it. But in a court of law, right now, everything that you have is substantive. It's nothing that is ironclad. But now, I'm just saying, if those pictures exist of Donald Trump and Jeffrey Epstein with underage women that are not clothed, well then that will be a different story. But these emails are implicatory. They're not necessarily evidence, and they don't truly represent crimes done by Donald Trump. So again, we have more emails here, and it says, from Michael Wolff, I hear CNN is planning to ask Trump tonight about his relationship with you, either on air or in Scrum afterwards. And then if we were able to craft an answer for him, what do you think it should be? And basically Michael Wolff was like, let him hang. Like, let him screw himself over. If he says he wasn't at the island, right? If he says he hasn't been on the plane or at the house, that gives you valuable PR and political currency. And it shows that our president, since 2016, definitely was compromised. He was compromised by outside figures who are dictating our political landscape. I mean, for Jeffrey Epstein to put in an email that he can let Trump hang himself and have correspondence between himself and Michael Wolff saying, hey, if he wants to deny anything, guess what? We have facts to back it up. And now all of a sudden, Jeffrey Epstein himself? Come on. The stars are aligning. The timeline, the facts, the proof, the receipts are so clear as day. But again, in a court of law, a timeline doesn't give proof to a crime. A weapon gives proof to a crime. A picture gives proof to a crime. So again, it's annoying that maggots continue to rally behind this man who, birds of a feather flock together type of thing, who hangs around these type of people and then continues to just go ahead and be like, hey, yo, it be what it be. He hung out with a pedophile, so, America first, though. Like, what? This is insanity in my eyes. But I just also wanted to go ahead and touch on this here. This is Alex Jones. And there was another email that came out and that was surfaced from this release of the batch of the documents from Trump. And this email is pretty damning. Like, it's a little bit insane. So let's go ahead and take a look at this one. Here we go. You and your boy Donnie can make a remake of the movie Get Hard. A while back, you mentioned that you were wait, where are we? Where was I? Wait, where was it? Oh, here we go. I'm sorry. My brain is everywhere today. I'm still sick. Cut me some slack. Here we go. You and your boy Donnie can make a remake of the movie Get Hard. And I thought I had tourists, meaning problems. Ask him if Putin has the photos of Trump blowing Bubba. Who is Bubba? Now, it has been alleged that Bubba is Big Billy Clinton, okay? You know, Monica Lewinsky, okay? We were assuming that Monica Lewinsky was Donica Lewinsky at this point. It's crazy. But it's just, this is the state of our politics right now, where we are wondering if Donald Trump blew former President Bill Clinton. What universe, what dimension did we veer off to or fork off into, where we're wondering if Donald Trump blew Bill Clinton? This is crazy. Now, apparently, Bill Clinton has nothing to do with this. Apparently, it was told by Epstein's brother that Bubba does not refer to Bill Clinton. But then there's rumors online that Ghislaine Maxwell had a actual animal, a horse named Bubba. And I don't know, where you go from there. That's not really rectifying the situation that Trump blew Bubba, whether you're talking about Bill Clinton or a horse. What? There's no winning in that situation. I guess you'd rather blow Bill Clinton in that situation, but saying that Ghislaine had a horse named Bubba and then implicating Trump with blowing a horse? There's pictures of Trump blowing a horse going around? What is going on in our political world that these are the conversations that are dominating the hemisphere of our political news landscape? It's insanity. But then it gets even better because you have none other than Alex Jones going on record. I'll just let you guys hear it. I'll let you guys hear it.
There's no video of President Trump sucking a ding-dong. And so what if there was? That's a lot better than World War III, Owen. I never sucked any ding-dongs. But I'll tell you, if they were going to blackmail me to start World War III about one, I'd say, hey, I sucked a golf ball through a freaking garden hose.
Didn't you already?
Sir, we all know you sucked ding-dong. We all know you sucked Trump's ding-dong. It's okay.
Tell Der Spiegel that?
Now, the son of a bitch walked in there in my own office when I'd splattered stuff on myself and I was changing shirts. He goes, oh, that's a good shot. Let's get your shirts. And then he goes, I go, hey, have some of this chicken and sausage. So technically I said, Jones offered me his sausage. Yeah, give me a break, you son of a bitch. I like women, not men. And if I like men, I'd be proud of it. I'd have a line of them. But I ain't ever been in bed with no man. I've been in bed with probably 300 women. And you sons of bitches sit there and you play these games, and I'm sick of it.
This is what's dominating our politics. Whether or not Donald Trump sucked a ding-dong. According to Alex Jones never sucked a ding-dong. But Trump, it don't matter. But isn't this the party that continuously says that being gay is wrong? You should never suck a dick if you're a man. You should never have sexual intercourse if you're a man. None of that. Ever, ever, ever. And yet, it's now okay to suck a ding-dong if you're Donald Trump. I guess dictators can do whatever they want, right? Or dictators can do whatever they want. Anyway, this is just insanity to me that this is the course of our political landscape. And the fact that it doesn't get any better when it comes to Trump, because it's just every day something insane gets released in regards to Trump's, affairs. And then you talk about Trump sucking a ding-dong, and then people coming out saying it's not Bill Clinton who's Bubba, but it's a horse. And it just doesn't get better. Where's the middle ground? I don't even know if there's a middle ground here at this point with Donald Trump, because it's either he's sucking Bill Clinton or sucking a horse. It's And there's apparently pictures of this that Vladimir Putin has. You don't think that's going to be used by Putin to, like, get his way with the United States? The United States is so fucked and compromised because of Donald Trump, and it's all going to be because that Donald Trump's not going to want these pictures of himself either blowing Bill Clinton or blowing a horse named Bubba to come out into the world and blackmail him, okay? That's what's happening. And this is why I've said since Trump's first presidency that he is the most compromised president in the United States. Not only corrupt, but compromised because people know things about him. And if people know things about the president of the United States that the president of the United States does not want out there, it can lead to the destruction and the erosion of the United States as itself. And we're seeing it being proven over and time again, especially when it comes to the policies that are being committed to in our United States government that is no longer allowing democracy to thrive and run through these streets, but rather than a dictatorship or an autocratship to form under the United States, because Donald Trump is allowing it to happen because he's being blackmailed for it to happen. He is the most compromised, corrupt president in the United States as it is, and there is no doubt about it. So, let's go ahead and go on here because I also wanted to talk about maggots. And maggots are just, I can't do it anymore. I can't do it. So, all right, so this is Megyn Kelly, and we all know Megyn Kelly, right? I am sorry. I'm going to keep saying this. I'm sick, and I'm getting over it. So bear with me. I'm powering through this. But as we talk about Epstein, we also want to talk about maggots. Because the maggots obviously will change the goal line, move the goalpost as much as possible. They will toe the line up until the point past pedophilia, I guess, at this point, and condoning it. And it's sick to see. And it's not even sick. It's confusing. Because weren't they the party that said they need to protect children? The Republicans, the right wing, the extremist right wing, who wanted to blame drag queens for hurting children, who wanted to blame drag queens for, you know, doing unthinkable and unspeakable things to children with no proof. But now there's proof that Jeffrey Epstein, and there has always been proof, that Jeffrey Epstein is a sexual predator and a pedophile, and now they're protecting and defending Jeffrey Epstein on the right-wing media ecosystem to somehow deflect from Trump's involvement, to make it okay for Trump to be involved in the ongoings and the disgustingness of Epstein. So let's take a look at this clip from Megyn Kelly, a very prominent right-wing media ecosphere scum. Go ahead.
Was it 2 months ago, 3 months ago, where you had that press conference? Was it 2 months ago, 3 months ago, where you had Ro Khanna
with the alleged victims?
Yeah, and Thomas Massey with this parade of, it was so sordid and the promise of salacious details, and then the women saying, actually, we're going to make our own list. Like the whole thing was so,
yeah.
After the,
where's that?
Exactly. And it just seemed like, there was a lot, like obvious money grubbing, obvious, coming together.
As a woman who is hearing other women's stories about sexual assault and surviving the torturous, disgusting hands of Jeffrey Epstein and his clients, I find it so disturbing that this woman is sitting here trying to downplay and degrade the women who have come forward. It is absolutely probably the lowest level of scum you can probably get to say that these women are lying, and that even though they were younger, they were not children, some of them, when this occurred to them. I think it's just disgusting to deflect from the crimes that were committed against these women. And honestly, SiriusXM and Megyn Kelly, like, you should not have a platform. at all.
Together of the two sides, because both sides see themselves as Trump's political opponents and enemies. The politicization, the money aspect of it. These women who were grown-ups when they met Jeffrey Epstein talking about themselves like they were children at the time. To me, that's really off-putting. It's kind of a slap in the face to the actual victims.
You're so sick. I don't even know who this woman is and why she's speaking, but the fact that she would say it doesn't matter, basically, when you were victimized, unless you were a child, it does not matter. Like, what? No, if you're victimized and you have been assaulted and sexually assaulted and used by someone, it does not matter your age. A crime is still a crime, and you are a victim of said crime. And the fact that this psychopath is sitting here trying to justify that because they were grown or adult women at the time they met Jeffrey Epstein, that the crimes committed against them doesn't truly actually sink in or matter is pretty sick.
Virginia Giuffre aspect where there was just lie upon lie upon lie. Like the idea that this is kind of something that's going to bring Trump down with his own base, with the other side, I just find it to be all so sordid.
Moreover, Jeffrey Epstein, there are countless numbers of women, young women, who were brought into his houses and to his island and paid for, quote, a massage with a happy ending, for lack of a better term. I mean, countless numbers of women. And he did like them young. And there were several young women who he did this to who were minors, who were underage. There's just no question about that. That is a true fact about Jeffrey Epstein.
Okay, so you're saying it's a true fact. So no matter the fact, this man is disgusting and you should not be defending what happened to these victims.
But that is not a true fact about Donald Trump. Mm-hmm. And if Donald Trump allegedly liked the barely legal type, we would know, Batya. We would know.
Oh, we know. We know that Donald Trump likes the barely legal type. We've seen it. We've heard it. We've heard the way that he talks about his own daughter. We've seen the fact and heard the fact that he's creeped on women, practically underage women, in Miss Teen USA pageants. Like, it's insane for them to say that we can't understand or we can't put the timelines together or put the dots together that Donald Trump is some sort of pervert, that, he's talked about his daughter in a way that is sexualizing her. He's talked about young women in a way that sexualizes them. He has had email correspondence in regards to Jeffrey Epstein saying that Trump knew about the things that were going on in Epstein's houses, on Epstein's planes, on Epstein Island. The fact that all of these are now no longer, it's not a coincidence at a point. It's no longer a coincidence at a point. It's actually just complete and utter, not necessarily fact, but it's common sense to think that, okay, birds of a feather flock together, and Donald Trump has seen on multiple occasions, has said, I've liked them young. I like to go into Miss Teen USA pageants and look at them behind the scenes, behind the curtain. I like to look at my daughter in a sexual light, in a sexual way. It's weird. It's weird, and it becomes common sense that if he's hanging out with someone who is a convicted sex offender and pedophile, that most likely Trump is the same exact way.
We know virtually everything about the man's sex life, unfortunately. And we would know if he had a penchant for the super young girls at this point. Like,
we know.
He ran the Miss Universe contest. Like, yes, we heard a story about him possibly going backstage into the dressing room. At least.
See, this is why she acknowledges it, but then deflects from it. And I cannot stand journalism that acknowledges a fact that is a huge fact and then continues to deflect from it as if she said nothing, as if, it wasn't a true fact.
At least once. Not great, not particularly shocking given how Trump was when he was younger, but we have not seen some slew of young women come forward to say, me too, on Donald Trump molesting them or having paid for sex with them when they were barely legal or otherwise. It just hasn't happened.
I cannot with this girl. Anyway, there's one more clip I wanted to show here. And this is the more disgusting of the two clips when it comes to Megyn Kelly and how she decides to defend a convicted sex offender and tries to downplay the fact that he liked younger women and it was okay. Let's go ahead and take a look at it. This is from the same interview.
As for Epstein, I've said this before, but just as a reminder, I do know somebody very, very close to this case who is in a position to know virtually everything. Not everything, but virtually everything. And this person has told me from the start, years and years ago, that Jeffrey Epstein, in this person's view, was not a pedophile. This is this person's view, who was there for a lot of this.
Wow, a pedophile calling another pedophile not a pedophile to defend the fact that they're pedophiles. She won't even give a name. That's how I know the person she's talking to probably is a pedophile. Okay?
But that he was into the barely legal type. Like he liked 15-year-old girls.
15 is still illegal. Megyn, what are we doing? The fact that you're going live on... Girl, blink twice if you need help. The fact that they have a woman coming on air to say that 15-year-olds in some capacity is legal is actually really fucking worrying and disgusting. And again, it's this moving of the goalpost when it comes to the maggots. They will do anything to defend and protect Donald Trump, who is their cult leader. It's insane to me. So for her to say, oh, Epstein was into the barely legal, that's her trying to normalize 15-year-olds being normalized to have legal consensual sex when they cannot. It's insane.
And I realize this is disgusting. I'm definitely not trying to make an excuse for this. I'm just giving you facts.
Okay, if you're not trying to make an excuse, why are you saying it? You're trying to create an excuse. You're trying to create justification. You're trying to normalize the idea that 15-year-olds are okay to somehow give consent for sexual activity. And you as a woman should never allow another child, because 15-year-olds are children, to be put in a situation where they could give consent for sexual activities with grown men. Barely legal, you're disgusting. You're scum. You're despicable, Megyn Kelly, for sitting down here and putting this into the universe.
That he wasn't into like 8-year-olds, but he liked the very young teen types that could pass for even younger than they were, but would look legal to a passerby. And that is what I believed, and that was what I reliably was told for many years. And
that's still a problem. How can you justify that? How can you sit on a live mic with your face being recorded, Megyn Kelly, and justify the barely legal phrase to justify and normalize 15-year-olds giving consent to sexual activity? You should be fired from your job. You should be fired from that microphone. You should never have another microphone in front of your mouth again. You should never have a platform again for justifying 15-year-olds to be barely legal. Like, there's a difference between 8-year-olds and 15-year-olds. Like, you're sick. You're absolutely effing sick. Every day that passes on in regards to this administration, it just... I don't understand where the common sense is. It has to kick in at some point when it comes to, especially this situation, when it touches upon sexual abuse, when it touches upon consent, when it touches upon minors. Where does the lunacy end? Where does towing the line finally decide to stop being towing the line and holding people accountable for their words and actions, such as Megyn Kelly, who wants to sit here and normalize and justify the barely legal term to normalize consensual sex for 15-year-olds? Where does the common sense kick in for our media? Where does the common sense kick in for MAGA? Where does the common sense kick in for protecting children, as the Republicans and the right wing and, the evangelical Christians and everyone in that hemisphere has decided to put their bets and money on in regards to policy and running for elections? Yet they sit here and have women try and justify the consensual sexual age of intercourse at 15 years old by using the term barely legal to equate it to legal. It's honestly mind-boggling to me that Megyn Kelly went on air and could not hear herself. It's like there's no thought process. It was like a regurgitated amount of words that needed to come out to protect her job or something. But she needs to come out and say, I apologize for making any sort of equation to legality when it comes to consent, because that's not what I believe. I don't believe children, 15 years, 16 years, 17 years, can give consent. Anyway, when it comes to all of this information that is going on and revolving around the world, I just say keep your common sense up, because common sense will outweigh and win, this lunacy that we are currently in, this hemisphere of complete and utter bullcrap when it comes to this administration. The fact that Trump is now trying to release the Epstein files after calling it a hoax, after calling it fake, after saying it doesn't exist. It's a lot. It's a lot. But while that is happening, I hope you guys can go ahead and hit that subscribe button right now. You guys can follow me right here on YouTube for all the brand new podcast episodes of The Civil Point with none other than your host, moi, Ariana Dieva. I am going to hop off right now because a girl is tired, a girl is still recovering from being sick, and she needs her bed. And hydration. A lot of hydration. Anyway, guys, go ahead, hit that subscribe button, and I will see you guys on the next episode of The Civil Point. Adios.